Okay, so it's been 16 years since I last used my Sega Dreamcast, and I'm finally going to turn it on to see if it works. Condition wise, it looks pretty good. I've kept it inside an air conditioned and closed off space for a while, so at least there's no possibility of heat damage, which is very common with older consoles. But really outside of that, I haven't been doing any special maintenance on it, so there's no guarantees. There are a few things we need to do first. First, I'll get it connected to my RCA to HDMI adapter, and I've included a link to this adapter in the description if you're interested. The audio and video signal is then going to be fed into one of my capture devices, which is an Elgato HD 60S Plus. Namely, what we want to look at are three different things. Number one, the Dreamcast needs to boot up and hopefully get past the date and time setup screen. Number two, the memory card or VMU still needs to be functional. In other words, we need this thing to actually load game saves. And number three, we're going to load 3 different games on it and test to see if they work. This includes Sonic Adventure 2, Marvel vs. Capcom, and Dead or Alive 2. So without further ado, let's go ahead and fire this thing up. Here goes nothing. Alright, score. So it managed to boot up just fine, and I'm not surprised that its internal clock has no idea what the time and date is right now. For the Dreamcast, like several other consoles, Sega decided to use a CMOS battery to manage the date and time, but obviously booting it up after 16 years means there's no way it can manage to remember these settings. So we're going to go ahead and set a date and time. Okay, so I haven't yet inserted any discs, but thankfully we've managed to get to its main menu. So now we can check off our first criteria is complete. Next, let's take a look at the save data on the memory card and see if we can still salvage any of it. Awesome. So the memory card is still intact and all the data that I saved back then is somehow still usable. So now we're going to check off criteria number 2 as completed as well. Finally, it's time to load some games on the Dreamcast and see if they're actually playable. Sonic Adventure 2 seems to work on it, and it looks like I can also access the Chow world exactly as it was 16 years ago. Marvel vs. Capcom still plays amazing, even though I'd have to play as a pad player. And the same goes for Dead or Alive 2, which was the first game I ever bought for the Sega Dreamcast. So there you have it. We can now check off number 3 from our list and consider this console as fully functional. If you find that your Dreamcast is asking you to set a date and time every single time that you power on the system, it means that your CMOS battery is most likely dead. You can actually buy this online and replace the faulty one that you have installed. And thankfully, there is a pretty good guide I found online which I've added in the video's description. And if you find that your Dreamcast can power itself on but there's no audio or video signal, I do recommend that you check whether your RCA cable even works. Many times, people find that older cables tend to stop working, although your console itself is perfectly fine. Last but not least, I do recommend storing your consoles in an air-conditioned space. People make the mistake of putting them in the garage, and that means your console could be susceptible to heat damage as a result. Thanks for watching, and for more on Sega Dreamcast and reviving older gaming consoles, please consider subscribing to this channel.